Hello, we are very happy to meet twins Clarke and Andy Bell today. The band Erasure, they have released their new album, The Violet Flame, and we are curious about what they have to tell about the new album. My name is Ann-Kathrin and you are watching Audiofield TV. Enjoy.
Ow, D, O, feel. Boom, 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 boom. Ow, D, O, feel. Ow, D, O, feel. Ow, D, O, feel, feel, feel.
Hi, Vince and Andy, or Andy and Vince.
Hello. Hello.
Who is responsible for this cover?
Well, the idea came from I was working with Andy in Florida. We were writing the record, and Andy showed me this like an ornament in a shop, in a gift shop, and it was a glass skull. And we just thought that it would make an interesting kind of image for the album sleeve.
But do you think this matches the album or the music?
Well, the actual the real sleeve isn't this black colour.
Okay.
The real sleeve has smoke behind it, like kind of violet smoke. So it's much more in keeping with the violet flame. I'm not sure why this one's that's the box set one, isn't it? Yeah, it gets a bit confusing with them, but yeah, we only chose because we thought it looked really nice, you know. And this guy, this artist can cover anything in gold. You can cover anything in gold. So.
But it's a little bit dark, and also the skull and
Well,
death,
it's not
and
dark
the
at all,
album
no.
is so positive.
No, I don't think it's dark. It's you know, I mean, you have the Mexican Day of the Dead, and they remember all their past loved ones, you know, and they have a party, and they get out all the photos of all the people that they've lost in their lives, and have a dinner and light candles, you know, and say prayers for all the people. And I think it's really sweet, you know, and I think kind of we always have this thing in the West of how death is so morbid, and it's just part of life.
So it is a more positive approach to death.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really talking about death. It's just an image that we used. That, you know, to be honest, it's very few of our covers, the sleeves or the record sleeves. Really, you would never guess what was on the record from the cover. You know.
So it's just art. Okay, I'm happy because I think yes, the album is very positive, and I think it's one of the best albums you have ever made, right? Would you agree? Of course you would agree.
I think it's one that's seems to be much more accessible to like lots of people, and it seems quite easier to program on the radio. I don't know, but I mean, I've really enjoyed some of our more melancholic albums, you know, including Love Boat and Nightbird. But,
Yeah, I think all our albums are brilliant.
yeah.
So does this album have any motto? Is it like a concept album? Would you say this?
Well, I think that we set out to make a more of a dance-orientated record this time, and also I think the positiveness of the songs is a reflection of the way that both Andy and I are feeling right now. You know, we're both in good places in our spiritual places, and you know, as you said, it's a kind of an upbeat, forward-looking record, and that's kind of how both Andy and I feel right now.
But how hard is it after nearly 30 years making music together and having released 15 albums before this, or studio albums before this, to have a new approach or a new album?
Well, it's very nice because you kind of, I think Vince and I both are artists, you know, and we love writing music, and we think of ourselves as being kind of craftsmen, like making a chair. Do you know what I mean? or doing a carving, or doing a painting. So it's the same as with making music. So, you know, I mean, sometimes we get bored. We've been bored before, but this time it wasn't we weren't bored.
Yeah, we just. I mean, the songwriting just came really easily. You know, it was we hadn't really done proper songwriting for 2 years together, so I think we both had fresh ideas to bring to the project, and it flowed very quickly. I think we wrote all the songs in about 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah.
And then how long have you been in the studio?
Well, I took the music to my studio in New York, and I think we spent about 5 or 6 weeks doing that, and then Andy went to London and for the vocals.
Yeah, I think we had about 4 weeks as well to do the vocals.
So you are doing all the instrumental tracks before, and then you are singing on the top, or?
Yeah, basically. I mean, we get the music track as advanced as we possibly could, and then Andy would start doing some singing, and then maybe at the end, we'd both finish off. I do a little bit of extra music, Andy did some extra vocals.
Mm.
Yeah, but we do have original demos that we make and send to the producer. Yeah.
Mm. And this time you don't have any acoustic or normal instrument again. You had an acoustic album some years ago. Is everything that has no key evil for you?
What do you mean, the acoustic?
Yes, all acoustic instruments.
Oh no, I mean I like the sound of acoustic instruments. I love the sound of acoustic guitar. It's one of my favourite musical instruments. But we both really enjoy electronic music, and particularly electronic dance music. And it's a whole. There's so many possibilities. There's so many different sounds that are there to be had and to be made, and it keeps the whole process interesting for both of us.
You just can't get enough.
No pun intended.
No.
Because Marianne Gold from Alphaville once told me that the only chance to make music was to make synthie pop, because none of them would play any instrument. Is it the same with you?
Well, we have used acoustic instruments in the past. We've used a little bit of acoustic guitar. I think we've used electric bass in the very early days. But, we kind of specialise in synths.
So how do you manage to sound familiar for your fans, but make something new?
Now we have, before we started this tour, we decided we wanted to kind of recreate a nightclub, and but just very basic and like a dive bar almost that you would go into, and kind of reminds me of when we were touring around in the late 80s and early 90s and going to like underground gay clubs in the US and places, and they're all very dark, and so we decided to make 12-inch remixes of the singles, and which sound very good. They're very updated, and then mix in stuff from the Violet Flame and a few singles as well, regular 45 singles, and it mixes really well. And it's nice for me on the stage, because even though it's 1.5 hours and it's lots of singing, there are breaks because of the music. So it's a relief, really.
Yeah, I mean that was the concept. I mean, we wanted for the whole show to be cohesive, so we've mixed our dance versions in with the more dancey versions which are on the new record.
So you want this album be played in clubs and discos? So this has been the intention.
I think it's mostly. I mean, all our music in the US is always played in clubs mostly, because the radio is so hard there for being such a small label that we're with. And
but you're Erasure.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really who you are. It's kind of, radio is so difficult, and so expensive.
You have to pay if you want to be played in the radio?
Well,
you're kidding.
Yes, you do, yeah. It works out with deals and advertising and all kinds of things, yeah. So...
we didn't talk about what you have to pay for me for the TV interview now.
I thought you were paying us.
It's at least $50,000 US, I think. Anyway, but so we've always been in the club, so we've so it's quite good to make a dance record, because it's easier for the remixers to reinterpret that than rather than us giving them a ballad. But I think they did a great job on Always, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good remixes out there of our stuff, even the very slow stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously the more dancey stuff interprets better.
So you're also living from those remixes from other artists, like Yellow does, for example.
Yeah. I mean, I really prefer those. Now, I'd much rather... There's not many artists, new people, that I get really turned on by. Like, for me, it has to be major. Do you know what I mean? So I think Robin is probably the most recent one, and then maybe Rihanna, you know. But I always love to hear those remixes, especially electronic remixes.
Are there also remixes where you say, oh my gosh, what did they do to our songs?
Well, we've had that. I mean, that was kind of like seemed to be a bit of a mid-90s crisis, that did.
Yeah, I mean, the whole remixing industry has changed, you know, tremendously. Because I mean, in the beginning, you didn't make a remix necessarily for clubs. You made 12-inch because it sounded louder. And now there's a whole art of, you know, making a remix. Sometimes they'll just take a single melodic line from your song, and then the rest will be their stuff, you know. So, but it's gone back now more of a collaborative kind of thing.
It's because DJs write it all now, don't they? They write everything.
So-called DJs.
Yeah.
But how would you say did the taste change since your beginnings? The taste of the audience.
It's tricky.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, it's the same now as it was before, in so much as there's lots of good stuff and there's lots of crap. You know, nothing really changes. I mean, I think people are still very interested in pop music because they like melodies and they like songs that they can sing in the shower. You know, and that hasn't changed.
I think it's quite, you know, unless you're a huge fan of somebody's, which I'm a huge fan of Blondie, you know, you it's kind of like, unless there's a really brilliant song that they have coming out, you know, that you really get taken away by it and love it. It's same for anyone. You want to hear the hits when you come and see them, you know, or maybe an album or something, you know. But and I think that's quite tricky. It's only when people have heard something so much on the radio and got used to it, because people kind of get a bit brainwashed by their stuff, you know.
But you must say also that there are not that many albums you want to listen.
Not all the way through.
And the whole.
No.
So it is the singles which are released that are really good, and then you listen to the rest of the album, you say, oh my God.
Well, in the day you listened to the whole album though, didn't you? I did. In the early days.
Maybe when you had this vinyl, you listened to the whole album. Yeah. Will this also be released on vinyl, the new album?
Yeah, it's going to be coming out. I think most of our stuff's on vinyl now.
So would you say it is like a revival of vinyl and revival of good melodies nowadays? Because in UK there's so many singer-songwriters now at the moment.
I think there's always been there's always been an interest in melody, you know, since we started, and I mean, maybe kind of more alternative like techno dance music doesn't need that, but as far as you know, the radio stations are concerned, they like to play tunes.
Do you only want to be a trendsetter, or also listening to new stuff and following some trends?
We've never ever been trendsetters or trend followers.
That's what you say.
Not at all.
I mean the trend setting.
Yeah, it's true though.
No, you're
We're more train spotters than trend setters, aren't we?
We're more like train spotters, yeah.
Okay, so but is there any music you're listening to at the moment?
I'm listening a lot of kind of new disco, indie dance stuff, like people like Nora En Pure, people like that. I'm really into. So, for instance,
Studio Killers.
Okay, so on this tour you're also doing the new album, but some old stuff.
Yeah, it's a mixture of everything. Some new stuff, old stuff, remix stuff, something for everybody.
And you will celebrate your 30th anniversary next year, I hope, with a new album maybe?
Yeah, we're celebrating next year by not doing anything. And we're just going to meet each other on our own time and that's how we're going to celebrate.
That sounds great. But I think you have doing some rejuvenation, right? You're looking so young, and the album sounds so young.
I'm about to do some rejuvenation next year.
Yeah, my wife won't let me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Au, die, oh.